Some players in the community of Era of Chaos asked me to review the direction of the game projected by the Ask Me Anything questions and answers. And this is exactly what I will do. Now, self-disclosure, as you can see, this is my current main account. No trust, no play, no login for 3 days. Okay, this is how it's working. On EU267, the account that I showed you back in November that it was to retire, no login for the same amount of time. And actually I didn't play that account competitively anymore. So this is my current stance, but I still have the competence to review these questions. I will name their names, the names of the different patterns that I figure out using their names so that I'm factually accurate. And let's see the questions. And at the end of the video, you will also see actionable guidelines on how you can prosper in Era of Chaos for the future, at least based on what this AMA tells us. So we won't go through every single question, but at the beginning there are actionable short questions. A diamond shop where we can get premium resources during cumulative spending. What does this mean? In cumulative spending, I will show you what's wrong. There are two options. One of them is that it's a covenant week. At the moment I cannot record covenant because it's not the time for it. But if it's covenant week, then you can get covenants, right? But if it's not covenant week, then there is no cumulative spending. So during cumulative spending, it's fine to pull covenants 170 or 210. But if you pull covenants, you've exploited the 50,000 rates, and then you won't have a chance to purchase these units here, the 1,500, the 2,250, as well as the 300 diamond Archibald from the mystery store 3 times a day. This one, Awakened Archibald. You won't have a chance to do all this. And this means that you don't have enough options to spend your diamonds. And then they say we will consider adding it during the half-year anniversary period. This, look at this. This is a target date. Check other answers for target dates. Super important. Here it was specifically said. Why the specificity? The specificity comes from the alignment of player interest and operator interest. So this is a great question for monetization optimization that can be framed as player convenience. When the two meet, then you see deadlines. Actually target dates, because if they don't do it, in that case they still don't do it, they reserve the right to change their mind, right? But this is a target date. Notice where there isn't a target date. Implementation is desirable, obviously by both parties. Quality depends on cultural match between parties. What does this mean? If they implement some complete nonsense, players will not like it. If they implement something that makes sense, they can even make money out of it by creating diamond sinks, and players will be satisfied. Win-win. Up to them how they use it. If global culture views the options as a natural evolution, it's fine. Then let's see the next few ones. Duel of Champions waiting time. Sometimes it's 40 seconds, but sometimes it's just 10-15. What happens? Like when you press Duel of Champions battle, you get a 10-15 seconds of rotating opponents, and then you get an opponent. It's completely fake because the matching is not happening live. It's just an algorithm that shows you some fugazi. And then once you press battle, you also have to wait sometimes for 10 more seconds until the opponent adjusts their defenses, but it's basically a pre-saved thing, so this is just a manual delay. This will be added to the schedule and arranged according to the timetable. What timetable? Look at this. No schedule is disclosed. This is a non-answer disguised as agreement. So if the request can be used for monetization, there is a target date. If it cannot, then there is no target date. I'm intrigued. I'm not just analyzing what is being said, I'm also analyzing what is not being said. Now, next one, Divine Herald unit tokens. As you know, once you get a 6-star token, 6-star unit, then, or no, actually this is a different. You have so many additional DH unit tokens after acquiring unit to 6 stars, exactly. Do you plan releasing content that require using those tokens? Maybe DH awakenings or alternate forms? If the answer is no, at least let us convert these unit tokens into a currency for future update for God units or something. No arrangements are currently in place. May be added around half-year anniversary. May. Even if recycling added, it will not be exchanged for divine descendant resources, obviously. So honest answer, revealing where priorities are and where priorities aren't. And it's easy to read. It may be added once it makes sense. And currently you cannot use it. Maybe later, maybe not. And this is absolutely fine. This is a fine answer. There will be some answers that won't be fine in the future, but this one is okay. Select all question. Gradual optionalization will begin in March. But wait a minute, you already have some select alls installed not too long ago. Look at this, for example. You go to special, claim all. Actually, not just select all, but claim all. Look at this, I can claim all diamonds. Here as well, I can claim so many. I've logged in for 3 days in total. We have claim all already. This wasn't, not everything was there in the past, so it happened already before. And then instant battle for many game modes. We got a vague answer. Expectations cannot be formed based on this. Also, when you say beginning March, this is not just for this answer, but many other answers in the future. When you see will begin from March, not in March, but from March, it means basically a backlog inflation and it is open-ended. So up to them. I'm not expecting anything in here, frankly. And I have a conclusion. When answers cluster around consider, schedule, gradual, then players should assume no short-term change and adjust expectations accordingly. Next, we have some longer questions and it's a bit more difficult to read all of them. You can still verify that it's factually accurate. And I will just give you the summary of what I found. So the shadow buffs and nerfs, it's a big topic because oftentimes you have one result, there is an update and everything behaves differently. Most of your units, your heroes, many other things, and it's unexplainable. 40% changes here and there, up or down, consistently. And then the answer is all changes have been announced, everything else is due to bugs. Now this is a statement that is very easy to disprove with data, specific data. You check the report, and if there is nothing, and the bug report doesn't announce it, because they said that they would at least transparently describe that they at least fixed the bug, and if they didn't even add that, and there is a provable change, then you have managed to disprove that this is not correct. The question is, what can you do with this data? Because at the moment it is not illegal to have shadow buffs, shadow nerfs, unfortunately. Although it's a dark pattern, by the way, so one day it may be illegal. I really hope that it will be. But it's not something that you can capitalize on in the short run. But we can refer to this in the future. However, let's see what these answers mean specifically. So, all changes have been announced. In some cases, perceived shifts in gameplay balance were due to bugs, and such fixes will also be included in the update announcement. So this was the answer, basically. And this is a burden shifting issue. Players perceive change. Management reframes the change as misunderstanding or bugs. The answer is unverifiable without battle log. So if you don't have battle log, good luck verifying it. And the detailed changelog around what bugs are fixed and when. And this causes something we call trust asymmetry. When players are expected to trust the system, but developers provide no audit trail, see battle log for example, then this is an authority-based system. Believe me, because I said so. So this is what I'm seeing. Regarding the early shop closure, so there was some other issues. So early shop closure, for example, was also asked in the festival events. The response selectively addresses difficulty but completely avoids shop closing early, selling currency after closure, because back in the days there was a time when event currency was sold for real money, but the event itself closed, so you couldn't use the event currency to get more other event currency that you can use in the shop. So the converter feature closed, but the shop stayed open. That was the problem specifically. This was not addressed. Exploitable quit mechanics and fair play violations were not addressed either. These were not addressed. The selective answer was, starting from the anniversary, all festival patrol events have been made easier, and ranking boards that required completing them 21 times are no longer included. That is correct. That is correct. And by the way, kudos to the team for implementing this. At the same time, some parts of the question, even if it's a long question because it had a documentation nature, was not addressed. And while I can tell you myself that some of the points have been addressed since then, for example, the shop closure and time synchronization based on experience, maybe the community manager's answer was created by someone in a way that they didn't exactly know that maybe a previous team fixed these issues, because it's not the most important thing that they focus on themselves. But I cannot know the full answer. What I can know for a fact, and that's the conclusion for the second part, when transparency questions are answered with everything was announced, but no tooling exists to verify it, see battle log, trust is replaced by authority. This is a red flag for any live service game. Straight up a red flag. If you're a conscious consumer. Next, let's see the third one. Long questions. I understand that it's a bit difficult to see, but if you want to verify the factual correctness of the analysis, because it's a shadow audit, in that case, just stop and read these parts. Everything was on screen. And it's just a screenshot. I just made sure that the name of the poster was not there, obviously. But the posting is accurate and it's public information as well, because anyone can join the Discord without an approval step. So, let's see the summary of what happened. So, the claims were made in the long text as follows. Progression doesn't scale, artificial brick walls for months. That's not good user experience, obviously, not good game design. Battle of Unions rewards age poorly and discourage experimentation. Why would I experiment with those extra diamond rewards added in Battle of Unions? Restricted domain jumps from a trivial to impossible challenge without gradual ramp. Cross-server matchmaking rewards age, not strategy. So the reward itself, so rewards age means that account age. Let me make it a bit more accurate. So the reward is proportional to the age of the account and not strategy. And this holds for Commander Duel, Kingdom Championship, many others. Although there is a way to game the system, and I have disclosed some of the strategies on how you can game the system, but not all, I think, because there are a few things. For example, the new game mode Battle of Unions, I think, where you can actually make a difference in some way, but it's hard. It's hard because if you have a top account and you cannot defeat the top account, but the top account can defeat all of you, then it's not within your control whether you win during that week or not. So it's like you're gonna be on the receiving end of these game modes for a long time, and then you will be on the high end, getting matched by other servers in the future. And then players asked why they should continue when gaps only widen. The response, please contact Ubisoft staff. Interesting. So it's desirable to contact Ubisoft through the form, I guess, or if there is a GDPR problem, or if there is a youth protection problem, then maybe through the proper channels, right? So this is encouraged by the development team right here. Please contact Ubisoft staff for more specific instruction advice about these things. What does Ubisoft have to do with this? It has consequences, quite a few consequences. For example, This is a jurisdictional deflection and not an answer. There was a question and the answer was not provided. What does this confirm directly? It confirms the community manager has no authority over system design. This used to be different with Sheldy back in the days, just saying. Then, next one. The older server advantage over new ones, because this was also addressed. And the response is, in any events, older servers have an advantage over the newer ones. This is a misclassification of a problem, and it's a design risk misclassification. The response frames the issue as a natural older server advantage, while the actual concern, the question, is a mechanism that permanently widens gaps in acquirable currency, because the older servers receive more just because they are older, and this widens the gap. It's so easy to understand this, and it was so easily ignored as well. So regardless of effort or spending, this will be there. Well, you can spend, but for example with Arcana Ore specifically, I'll give you an Arcana Ore example. There are limited packs of Arcana Ore in the shop. If someone buys them all, the number of Arcana Ore you have is proportional to your account age, with no catch-up mechanism. So this is a separate and more severe design problem actually. And we understand the server age advantage. But when you have non-cumulative currencies and the disadvantage is irreversible, that's a different thing. I'll show you some non-cumulative currencies that used to be there actually, and some of them are still there. For example, on illusory traces, but I need to go to the shop. No, it's a different shop, apologies. Here it is, marketplace. Illusory traces, do I have access to it? No, I don't on this specific account, but there are some things like divination voucher, treasure hunt permit. You can get 30 every second week, and you only can afford it if you have broken the bank already, which means that you've purchased all the butterflies. But the butterflies themselves are cumulative in a way that everyone can get them as soon as they broke the bank in illusory traces. All of them, and they stop at the same place, which means that there is no power advantage for older server. So for restricted domain, it was different than now. And what's really interesting is that the original question poster had intention of signaling a problem with the restricted domain, this thing, and this thing, and this thing, because they were not cumulative in the same way as in illusory traces. The butterflies were cumulative. And the answer completely ignores the fact that it was actually implemented a week after this question appeared. How surprising. But the changelog, the changelog didn't even mention this implementation. It was not transparent. This was just taken, most likely, or independently discovered and implemented. And they don't even know that they should give credit to themselves for implementing it, because they have no idea that it happened when answering this question. How interesting, isn't it? The answer avoids engaging with the proposed solution entirely. And catch-up principles acknowledged elsewhere but violated here is another issue. Because you know what this happens? If they implement cumulative catch-up logic elsewhere, which is there in the game, this implies that the design team understands the principle that we're talking about here. But the answer doesn't reflect that. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not, who knows? And restricted domain contradicted this design during week 1, to be precise. This by design during week 1 of its launch. Well, when it launched, I thought it was a bug, but it turned out that it was a feature. I mean, the whole game mode. I thought it was just a bug when I first looked at it. I had a test server restricted domain access first time, and it was buggy. I thought, okay, they will fix it, not a problem. And it appeared on live. And I was like, why didn't you fix it? And it turned out that it was the game mode actually. It's not a bug. It was intended this way. 100 battles every single week. So this rules out lack of awareness. They are aware. This implies deliberate exception, likely monetization driven, and increases frustration because players recognize the inconsistency. We're not stupid, or actually we can be stupid, we can choose to be stupid, but those who are true fans or were true fans of the game at some point in their life, they have enough intellectual capacity to understand these things. This is why it's so problematic that some of these things are ignored. Anyway, moving on to the next one. So, frustrating, new event is restricted domain. And it's frustrating, there is a gap, and it's not pleasant. Even the 100 is not pleasant. And what's the answer? The first 100 levels already provide the vast majority of the rewards, while the subsequent levels are primarily intended as a challenge and offer nominal rewards. Who cares? This is not an answer to the question. A player was complaining about friction, and the answer is just tolerate the friction that you can solve. Just show up like a cult member, worship the 100 clicks, and then you get most of the rewards, don't worry. Or buy VIP cards. So, key takeaway. Most rewards in first 100, rest are challenges. Progression ends at 100. Beyond that, it's a prestige content for VS and old accounts. Difficulty spikes are intentional, not accidental. So it's by design. It was confirmed that that horrible game mode is by design. By the answer. It didn't confirm a lot of things, but it did confirm it's by design. Conclusion, this contradicts earlier statements about player experience and scalability. And the original question was not even addressed. Not just not answered, not even addressed. Fatigue. 100 levels. Think about that. 100 clicks. No, actually, if you want to accelerate it, 200 clicks because you need to close the battle too. 200 clicks every single week. Completely meaningless because most accounts, half a year or like 3-4 months old accounts can already solve it. It's like a mind-blowing thing. There is a high correlation between this account of mine at the top having not logged in for 3 days, and it will stay like this, and the existence of restricted domain. And this is a VIP 9 account, transparently VIP 9 account. There is a high correlation between how the specific player was treated for some players who left already quite a few days ago, 11 days ago, and how that player was treated. High correlation. So if this still doesn't fully answer your cultural incompatibility cases that circulate in Discord, maybe the numbers will one day. Next, auto chess and shop ordering. Gradual optimization and ordering optimize are asserted without evidence. And actually it happens for shop ordering, it did happen a few days ago, or no, few weeks ago. But players report persistent issues and no rollback, no acknowledgement of past behavior, some of these things. The reordering issue with the artifact got fixed too. This got fixed, has been optimized, this is correct. But it was not transparent in a way fully that it didn't even show up in the changelog. Well, how could you write it? That's another question, because I cannot say the dark pattern of shop reordering has been eliminated or shut down or shut off, or that the shop accidentally reordered items, but that accident made a player to purchase a Vidomina artifact pack for almost $50 or more than $40 or 40, or I don't know, but he purchased the wrong pack because of shop reordering back in the days, back in December. Just saying. Player takeaway: when developers redefine frustration as challenge, disengagement follows. This is a takeaway for restricted domain. And you see that this engagement, I voted with my 2-year plus old account. I refuse to log in. That's it. It will show up on your dashboard maybe because an other player who was quite high. In fact, I had a hard time beating his defense in the arena. Let's see the arena just so that you see. I think we're still in top 2 in the arena. Oh no, I need to do the tutorial. Okay, I will do it off screen, doesn't matter. Let's go to the next one. We'll see that those two players disengaged from the game. One 11 days ago, one now. Okay, new questions. Faction balance. So when there is a faction balance, each faction has the opportunity to become the top when releasing new technologies. So when new heroes or specific technology are released for different factions, it would be good to rotate the order between factions. This doesn't answer the question. This doesn't at all. Anyway, let's see what is going on. So faction balance. Answer: everyone gets a turn. Reality: power rotation sustains spending cycles. General takeaway: monetization boundaries are non-negotiables. You want different orders? No, it's not. Don't have expectations over monetization. We own monetization. You're just a player. Just shut up and play. This is what I'm interpreting. Maybe you interpret it differently. Actually, shut up, play, and give us your money. Because we said so. Here is new hero. Give us your money. Oh, it's not your union? Then invest more. You need more unions. You need to give us more money. So think about that, and as soon as you figure it out, it's a bit of a serious issue. Now, and the seriousness of the issue, after completing this amazing tutorial, I just completed the tutorial for the arena, is that look at who is the top two. Chubb is stronger than me, okay? So Chubb is second. He inspired me with the Awakened Catherine. I had a really hard time beating his 1 unit formation with my 8 units formation, but I managed to imitate basically his way of defense, and it seems like others are not interested in or don't have the capacity to beat us yet. But hopefully this is understandable. I'm viewing from another account's lens because that account is not going to log in. So many clicks, including restricted domain, we shall consider optimization. Repetition shows low urgency. Just look at the urgency on page 1, Diamond Shop. There was a target date during the half-year anniversary period. Target date is not deadline, it's a target date, but it's more than what we get. It's lower urgency. Your frustrations, your clicks, you're either fine with it or you'll get used to it. These are your options. And if you don't like it, maybe you're fatigued and it's you don't like the game anymore and it's your fault, not ours. So, token to covenant conversion, because there are two issues presented. One of them is the covenant distribution, which I understand in a way that to pull 220 covenants, you need 55,600 to 56,700 diamonds, if I remember correctly. And depending on whether you pull 206 or 210, or 55,800 to 56,700. 206 or 210 because you get 4 for free, but pooling 1 instead of the 10 pool doesn't give you guarantees. So up to you how you do it. Either way, it's you get end heavy rewards. So it's a sane choice to stop at 170, it's a sane choice to stop at 210, but if you get 150, you might as well get 170. And 120 gives you worse results. So evidently when you do covenants, and you have these amazing units, the E, F, and H, and the store. I'll show you where they are once again, these ones, because you just didn't have time. You wanted to skip some of the cycles for these units in the Covenant store, so they were just added to the shop so that we can speed up new tech and so that players can spend new diamonds and maybe they buy the Growth 1-3 and or some other things. And you see that stopping at 150 or 120 may be desirable if you buy some of those units too. And the response is the current units prices and diamond acquisition are in a balanced state. Balanced. That's why players are complaining on Discord. But it's their fault, I know. We are temporarily not considering increasing auto rewards. It's not about increasing, it's rebalancing. 10 plus 10 plus 15 plus 20 plus 25 for 40. How many is this? 40 plus 40. that's 80, plus 20 is 100, 110, 120. 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, it's 122. Where is the increasing in the question? This doesn't answer the question. It's rebalancing, not increasing. Because we are in pain. You know, players are in, or you are in pain, not me. But players are in pain because they cannot really spend their diamonds properly. That's the problem. And if you view this as increase, well, in half a year, players may ask you a question and then you can misunderstand the question again. Thank you. So this is what I'm seeing. Or get in touch with Ubisoft, you know, you can also write that. Not a problem. Token to covenant conversion. This is flat rejection, protects long-term scarcity, and also addresses an economic loophole. 15 covenants for 1500 diamonds buying any token if the DH conversion was made available. So if you had a Divine Herald conversion, then this would mean that the covenant price on 152 would drop to 100. So that's why I'm not seeing that it's rational to ask for Divine Herald conversion. Because right now covenants are priced at 152 if you do 210, or 162 if you do 170. Those who do it understand it. And reducing this from 152 to 100 or 162 to 100 is not necessarily desirable. Because if we saw that this is being targeted for, let's say, June, then you know what I would do as a player? Every single limited time cumulative spending event, I would buy all the 1500 options, without exception, everything. And I would just hoard the tokens and convert them. And then I would have cheap covenants. And this is not realistic to ask. This specific question was not well thought out for the Divine Herald, but it's a fair question because giving the shop would also imply in that case that you won't have access to this 1500 diamond convertible. So it's possible to design a good game experience around it and just see where the luck is. The problem is that we're accumulating tokens because after 530 we're getting a 6-star unit, and that 6-star unit gives us 5 tokens every 2 weeks. So it's rational from the end of players to ask if it's a future awakening coming or something. But if it was convertible, in that case you collect 530 tokens, and for champions it's 530 covenants, for Divine Heralds it's 1.5 times that. And it would be translated into an earning ability of 5 covenants per 2 weeks. The ROI, return on investment, is a bit more than 4 years. Some people would go for it. Although whether the game will stay for 4 years or not, I hope it will. But I hope that the culture is gonna change drastically, because this culture is currently not necessarily compatible with global cultural expectations. The Covenant pool declared balanced, player math got ignored. It was not about increasing rewards in the first place. Complete ignorance. Conclusion: self-inflicted problem. Because the E, F and H tokens in the store, they do not allow full Covenant pools. The reaction: unsolvable diamond spending constraints. Settle for suboptimal rewards, do both Covenant pools and unit purchase, or just get more diamonds, top up VIP card, growth fund, problem solved. We increase the diamonds for you in Battle of Unions, right? Well, not we, they. Section conclusion. Where monetization is at stake, answers are firm. Where player time is at stake, answers are vague. Think about that. Next. So, Dine with Heroes, Healing Seas and Underworld Recollections. Can you let us play? I understand that it takes time. Events such as Dine with Heroes and Underworld Recollections require players to invest a significant amount of time. Some players have strong complaints. But frankly, once every 2 years maybe. And it's a compromise. And by the way, since when are you so interested in player time? Because I've just read this conclusion. When monetization is at stake, answers are firm. When player time is at stake, answers are vague. And now you're interested in player time and with a firm answer? So is there a monetization reason for these? I mean, Underworld Recollections, we've seen players quit. and there is no... The issue with Underworld Recollections is that there is no real spending incentive in there. So we waste player time and clicks and engagement, and we just reward them. Healing Seas is one of the best rewards in events. Dine with Heroes, I did it once, long time ago, and I know that we needed specific recipes, but it didn't really ask for you player time. It didn't take much player time. Okay, it was a bit convoluted, but people liked the recipes. They discovered it, and it was a crowdsourced experience. And this had nothing to do with player time, or at least not much. Okay, next one. Finally, a claim all button. Gradual optimization will begin in March, and so on. So let's see. UX depth and player exhaustion. This one too. UX issue, 240 clicks, symptom of the same problem, pop-up confirmations. You know what? Gradual optimization will begin from March, but this specific issue at the top was the shop refresh, the emblem shop refresh, and it has been implemented already. So once again, there is a disconnect between who wrote the answers and who implemented those fixes and who had awareness of those fixes. Skewer, Duel of Champions, Barracks, these were actionable items. A correct company would start saying that, well, we're scheduling the different issues, fine. But it will begin from March. This is a false answer, because this part has already happened. So, core patterns. Players describe forced labor. Because if you want to continue playing competitively, you have to do it. Hundreds of clicks, fake delays, redundant confirmations, jittery UI, time-wasting loops. And the response, gradual optimization from March. This is not a UX problem, so the question was actually wrong too, in a sense that it's a UX problem based on this analysis. This is a retention to friction model. Friction monetization is a term, a technical term in gacha games. Okay? Retention to friction. This is why the cult analogy happened back in November, because you need to worship the cult by sacrificing your clicks or your money or both to stay in the system in a competitive way. Reducing friction reduces daily engagement metrics, even if it improves player experience. So maybe if they have some reporting obligations upwards with engagement metrics, they need your clicks very badly, so that they report to certain places that there are no problems with the game. Look at how many players clicked. Oh, they need 240 clicks in a week to get some scarce resource. They do it anyway. They either like it or they will get used to it. And those who don't get used to it, they didn't like the game in the first place, so they should just leave. This is my take on basically how we are being treated at the moment as players. Or you, if you're still playing. Player takeaway. The longer UX pain exists, despite clear articulation, the less likely it is accidental. Because it has been articulated really clearly. I articulated it myself as well on higher forums back in the days when I had access to those forums. Others articulated it. People discussed it. And it's widely understood. The only long-term solution for the existence of these patterns is that this is friction-based monetization. So they monetize your frustration and sell you some solutions in the form of VIP cards, in the form of other things that we understand. The game is old. It's the game's... Don't expect like a 2026 UX here, because we're still thinking that it's a UX problem, right? Don't expect 2026 solutions. It's a bit old, and for this reason there are a bit more clicks here and there, but the legend, the legacy stays alive. No, it's super easy to solve these problems. If there is intention, you solve it in no time. This is a retention through friction model if it stays for long enough. So that's the idea. And now we went through all the questions. Now you see my unbiased, basically, opinion. Unbiased in a sense that I just took the text as an example and I verified basically my stance as well with 3 different models. And those models, and also an independent person who is not playing this game. I basically verified this with someone else. And the agreement is there, although it doesn't mean that I am correct. So feel free to challenge me in the comments below if you think that some of my conclusions were incorrect. Okay? Because this is just a conclusion as a player. I don't know the internal systems. I cannot know the source code. I cannot know communication. I cannot know who reports to who. I can just see that community managers are being rotated from time to time. And also development teams are being rotated. But those decision makers seem to be making the same decisions, except for some damage limitation handling, which we are grateful for actually. For example, the item scrambling in the shop. So the key takeaways as a player. If I was a player in Era of Chaos right now, I would take away the following 6 things. Stop expecting meaningful dialogue. Answers show message relaying, not advocacy. Second, document everything. Screenshots, timings, shop states, odds. I used to be an official content creator until the official content creator policy went live. Actually, 1 day before the content creator policy went live. I was still an official content creator 2 days before. And this means that I have years of documentation of states, and I just rewatched my video. Oh, there was this bug there. Oh, there wasn't this bug, and it appeared in September. This bug appeared in October. This bug appeared in May. And oh, if you misuse this bug badly, then you either lose your diamonds or real money with it. Or it's friction, it's extra friction. Can it be by accident that all these bugs appeared like July, August, September, and so on? This is why I created a trust recovery proposal in October. That's the exact reason. I was losing trust in the system. But, you know, it's better if I'm not part of the official content creator team. Exactly because of this reason. Third point. Escalate only when you have a strong case. Otherwise, it's gonna be dismissed with similar techniques that you can see here. How these answers were treated, you conclude yourself. And if you don't have a strong case, in that case, if you keep on complaining about weak cases, then you will weaken your actually stronger cases as well. Because it's like, oh, it came from this person again. This person is the problem. Maybe some people may say this. I'm not saying it's happening, but this is human genetics based generalization. Fourth, contracting Ubisoft was directly encouraged by the AMA answers, Ask Me Anything answers. At least by one of them. Or 2 of them, we will see. Because it was on the same page. Here it is. No, not here, here. Please contact Ubisoft staff for more specific instruction advice. I don't know if there are more of these Ubisoft stuff, but at least once. And if there was once, there it is. Please contact Ubisoft staff. Recommend all special events include daily challenges and similar unique player activities. Interaction is fun and engaging. Please contact Ubisoft staff. What is this? Doesn't answer the question. The question has nothing to do with please contact Ubisoft staff. Or more specific instructions advice. Who is the Ubisoft staff? The Ubisoft staff is currently not exactly reachable on Discord. I tried. So maybe they are just not reachable for me, who knows. Fifth, don't shoot the messenger. This is a structural failure, not an individual one, okay? It's the structure. So if a community manager posts this, it was never disclosed that the community manager wrote it. It was only disclosed by the answers as a consequence that the community manager has no authority over game design, which wasn't the case in Sheldy's time, by the way, back in the days. Back in the days, the community manager had authority over game design. And the sixth and by the way, that authority change is a structural problem. That's why I'm saying it's not the messenger who is the problem. It's the structure, it's the management decisions that led to the fact that the community manager has no influence on game design decisions at all. At least there is no communication from the community manager's end that I can see in the community. Maybe there is. If there is, you can write it in the comments even with an anonymous account. But I haven't heard any from any player that that it could be an individual. It could be an individual effort to summarize what players want. There are player votes, like 19 want battle blocks, 1 doesn't. It's just a feature that exists in Chinese. It's just super easy to release it. It's not there. Maybe the audit trail is not desirable for the development team. So we just create an authority-based system where we just need to accept authority. But this means that our spending, or your spending, because I'm not, so your spending is basically in the hands of those people who say, okay, this is what's gonna happen next. Let's not put it in the logs, and these are gonna be bugs that we're fixing in our schedule. And this schedule is it's scheduled that this bug is gonna be fixed, let's say in five weeks. Is it like this? Or is it not like this? If it's not like this, the easiest way to disprove it is an audit trail. Sixth, vote with attention. Adjust your own personal engagement based on your own trust and satisfaction. So this is what I did. If you have a higher trust, higher satisfaction with the game, because I like the game, by the way. This is not a bad game on the surface. Some of these things that were implemented and the global community culture leadership principles, so not the leadership, but the leadership principles, are what collectively made me quit, not 3 days ago now, but 4 days ago while recording this video. Friction-based monetization, restricted domains, content creator policy, draconian, self-contradictory, and a selective application of unfalsifiable authority. These things, this is the reason why that account is being toasted right now. Engagement data bypasses hierarchies. Player sentiment can be reframed during summary. So this means that if people are unhappy on Discord, it doesn't mean anything unless proper feedback loops are added. Just think about it this way. I'm not saying this is happening in Era of Chaos, but this is happening in many structures where the boss says what they want to hear and they expect their subordinates to summarize the events in accordance with the expectations. And this implies that, for example, content creator policy contradicts the Ubisoft content creator policy as well as itself. And it's draconian, and it can be selectively applied only. And it was selectively applied based on data and evidence. So the content creator policy is a failure if we look at it semantically and we look at it historically how it was applied. At the same time, the likes linearly increase, and then during holidays maybe they stop when players are actually more engaged, and then they linearly increase again with accounts that got registered in December and have no other posts. Now, if you think that you like that content creator policy, I respect your decision and I understand this. I'm just asking where those likes are coming from. Because as a player, this is a highly atypical pattern that I am seeing in the community. And by the way, I didn't say this myself, another player on Discord said it first. and I'm just summarizing what I heard because I basically saw that that player was correct. I saw basically the likes themselves, and that player was correct. Now maybe this is a reporting tool upwards, that the content creator policy is actually popular and will reach unprecedented number of likes if we continue this way. Maybe we already know that it's gonna happen within 1 month or 2 months. So these are the issues, and this is why I chose to stop paying all attention to the game from the EU256 account that you saw, as well as the EU267 VIP3 account that you saw, that basically was retired once already. And by the way, this was a restricted domain cost thing directly, because that was when I got the message that skill is not welcome anymore. With restricted domain specifically. Friction and execution of the friction is what got rewarded, and skill was mostly pushed aside. I did a 1.5 hour long investigation on restricted domain after I quit, and that is when I saw that if I pay an irrational cost of 200 diamonds, I can skip from after level 11, I can skip to level 112, and that is the easiest level. How ironic, 112 help hotline, right? So 112 is ironically the level that is the easiest to beat above 100. According to my experience, you can see that 1.5 hour long video. That was skill, and that was a one-time thing, because since then it has been the 112 every single week. There is no crowdsourcing exercise, there is nothing. There is just friction-based, basically monetization, that if you don't want the 100 clicks or the macros, by the way, there is a video on macros too, then just accept it and buy the VIP card, and then you will have no problems. You don't have to play this restricted domain. And this is what I said in the trust recovery proposal, that this is not like Chronicles or Dragon League, that the game mode is meant to be enjoyed for the first time, at least on some level. That, oh, there is this game, and that's how you can get to the no. And sometimes you get easier opponents. It's nothing like that. The game was designed, that game mode was designed to provide players with friction. And that friction in itself is the product. Actually, no, the VIP card is the product, but the friction is the sale. And I cannot see a player for like 4 months plus, since restricted domain was released in English, who liked this game mode, genuinely liked going through those 100 clicks. I'm still yet to meet that player. Maybe they exist, but I haven't heard this. And you know what's even more funny? I made the research on Chinese forums with some crawling and translations, and feedback has been consistent in China as well, because it's a lot older game mode. I documented my findings on Discord as well. And it looks very much like this status. So, if you like the game, just like me, in that case, I can understand that you just keep on going and engage with everything and just ignore all this that we have talked about. It's none of your business as long as you complete these things with macros or without macros. It will take you or your computer some time, some resources, and you will get the rewards, and you will get a stronger account and compete at the top and spend accordingly. If you're a player who is fed up by all this, in that case, it's a different situation. It's you judge your situation, and then these 6 points are basically the things that I figured out, that if I was in your situation, I would do this, 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 this. But I'm not going to tell you what to do because it's fully your decision. Because your situation is different than mine. I can just walk away with a 2-year-old VIP9 account from a game that I like really much. Without problems. Without addiction symptoms. Without the smallest FOMO. Because I believe that this is the right thing to do for me. I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do for you. Okay? So this is super important because everyone has their own decision. But you know what? I have provided you with analysis on restricted domain specifically, where you see that first you get 2000 rewards, then you get 40 rewards or 70 rewards, and there is also a cumulative idle reward, by the way, where you get 1 point for level 1, and I think you get 2 points or 3 points in total, I don't know exactly, after level 100. It's in the analysis. And we saw that the safest exit points are level 10 or floor 10, floor 20 or floor 100. That was the conclusion. And you just say that it's not worth for you. And you just do 10 clicks. Is there a horrible game mode elsewhere? You just don't engage with it. And you stop competing with those who basically are forced to buy the VIP cards because they want it. The game offers a lot of good for you as well, a lot of good things for you, and it's fine to ignore some game modes if you're frustrated. What is better, getting fatigued and quitting, or making 80%, 90% of the progress? Then you will figure out that making 80, 90% of the progress is fine, and then the engagement metrics won't tolerate some game modes where, despite the opportunities and rewards, players just refuse to play that specific game mode. But then you face the consequences, so this is why it is your decision. Because you're gonna get less rewards. Now, I'm ready to face the full consequences without the smallest problem of not this account, because this was just an espionage account before merge, seeing what is going on, what other places have players. But basically, this is why the number 1 account, I say that in this cultural context and in this friction-based game, I refuse to play until the core problems have been addressed. And once they are addressed, we will see where we stay. I mean, it's quite straightforward who is where. And I think it takes the rest of the at least for Titan, it will take, I would say, 2 months, not to reach min combat power, but in other places, for example, artifacts, there is a larger gap, you see. In units, he's not bad actually, but you see that we're in the top 20 with Chubb, and Titan has the this one, Sun Crusader 209, and my Sun Crusader is 227. That's a huge change, huge difference, by the way, because it's not the combat power that matters here, but the skill itself. The skills that make this, and the basic abilities that make the difference. Combat power is just Fugazi most of the time. But it's not fully Fugazi, because like can be compared with like, for example, Sun Crusader with Sun Crusader. And this is my end conclusion. Write it in the comments what you think. And also write it in the comments how you would solve this situation if if you could do anything in the game. Write it in the comments, and I'm interested in, I read all comments, by the way, in this specific case. And I'm interested in your opinion, what you would suggest in this case. Please make sure that you don't give me causes for moderation. So certain words and certain claims have to be moderated out. Okay, and certain personal attacks have to be moderated out as well, because once again, it's the system. We don't go to any individuals, not even the developers themselves. It's a systematic failure that we're describing, and this failure is subjective because it's failure for the player, and it's not necessarily failure for the system itself, but it's a systematic issue that will become a larger issue in the long run. unless it is addressed. Thank you for your attention.